Arcadian Vanguard presents The Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Thursday, December 19th, 2024. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin today with AEW's Holiday Bash edition of Dynamite, broadcast live last night on TBS from the Entertainment and Sports Arena in Washington, D.C. In the main event, the Death Riders trio of Jon Moxley, Pac, and Wheeler Yuta defeated Orange Cassidy, Jay White, and Hangman Adam Page. In Continental Classic matches, Darby Allin pinned Will Ospreay in the Gold League to bring his point total to 6, while Shelton Benjamin also brought his total to 6 points in the Blue League by defeating the Beast Mortos. After the match, the Hurt Syndicate continued the assault on Mortos, with Daniel Garcia and Mark Briscoe running in for a failed save attempt. MJF delivered a promo running down Adam Cole, but was run off when Cole appeared and jumped him from behind.
This wonderful man. We're waiting a long time to see this. Adam Cole. Here we go. Taking out more than a year of frustration with those right hands on MJF. Put him back into the fray. A super kick. Match done. You're going to strip him out of this suit. MJF is going to have nowhere to run in 10 days' time at World's End. Oh, here it comes. Coming Excalibur. Saturday tonight, December 28th, while bailing out of the ring, out of the range of that Panama Sunrise.
In other results, Mercedes Moné retained the TBS title against Anna Jay, and the Patriarchy defeated Katsuyori Shibata and Hook. In other AEW news, Jamie Hahn is claiming that AEW's general counsel Chris Peck violated a non-disclosure agreement by sharing information with attorneys for Hahn's former boyfriend and alleged abuser BJ Whitmer. In a post for a GoFundMe set up to assist her and her children, Hahn claims that Peck wrongfully and without legal obligation provided information to Whitmer's attorneys, which Hahn claims includes false context and inaccuracies. Hahn added that Peck, quote, blatantly lied to the defense attorney and the prosecution team. AEW has been made aware of Peck's actions, the impact his actions have had on the outcome of my case, and the devastating effect it has had on my life since March 2024. AEW has had ample opportunity and time to address and take responsibility for Peck's actions, yet they have done nothing, putting me in the most vulnerable position imaginable, end quote. Representatives for AEW have not yet responded to the allegations. Whitmer was fired from AEW as an agent after being charged in Boone County, Kentucky with first-degree strangulation and second-degree burglary following an incident at Hahn's home on June 4, 2023. Whitmer was fired from AEW 8 days later on June 12, 2023. In WWE news, new information has come to light regarding Lee Fitting, who has been WWE's head of television production since last year when he replaced longtime executive producer Kevin Dunn. According to a report in the New York Times, Fitting departed his previous employer, ESPN, under controversial circumstances, having been dismissed following allegations of mistreating female employees. Fitting denied some of the allegations through a spokesperson while refusing to address some others. The alleged misconduct is said to have occurred during Fitting's time in charge of ESPN's College Game Day show. In ratings news, this week's episode of Monday Night Raw drew 1.522 million viewers to USA Network, according to WrestleNomics. That's an increase of about 10% from last week's audience of 1.386 million. The rating in the 18 to 49-year-old demographic was a .48, which was also an increase from last week's rating of .43. NXT this week drew a viewership of 708,000 to the CW, according to WrestleNomics. That's up from last week's viewership of 680,000. The rating in the 18 to 49-year-old demo was a .16, which also held steady from last week's demo rating. And we close with some news from outside the ring. Queen of the Ring, the new biopic on celebrated World Women's Wrestling Champion Mildred Burke, now has an official movie release date, with Slam Wrestling reporting that the film will hit theaters on March 7th. Based on the 2010 book of the same name by Jeff Lean, the movie is written and directed by Ash Avildsen, son of the late Rocky and Karate Kid director John G. Avildsen, and stars Emily Bett Rickards as Burke. Jim Ross serves as the executive producer, and the movie also contains some appearances from such wrestlers as Camille in the role of June Byers and Toni Storm in the role of Clara Mortensen, as well as Trinity Fatu as Ethel Johnson. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.